Hey everyone, welcome to the Music Stand Made Easy live workshop. I'm so happy you could join us today. If you're new to using WorshipTools Music Stand, you can download it for free from the iOS App Store, from the Google Play Store, and use it on your iPhone, your iPad, your Android phone, your Android tablet. But if you don't have any of those, you can also pull it up in any web browser on any computer by just going to musicstand.worshiptools.com. Music Stand is a great app for your whole worship team. You can import chord charts, lead sheets, vocal sheets from great sources like Song Select. You can also bring in your own PDFs or type your own chord charts. You're going to be able to make annotations on them, share them with the team, change the key on the fly, and we're going to show you how to do all of that in today's short workshop. So to get started, I'm going to pass it over to Joanne.
Hi everyone, this is our third WorshipTools Made Easy workshop, and if you missed our presenter and planning workshops, you can rewatch them on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, but the star of today's show is Music Stand. As you may have gathered from what's on the screen or from the name Music Stand is essentially a digital version of your paper sheet music. One of the benefits of that is that as long as you have your phone, laptop, or tablet, you can access your sheet music and your service set list from anywhere at any time. Now you may be wondering what happens when the device is offline, and I will get to that later in the demonstration, but it is possible to view your set lists offline. Also, Music Stand is a team tool, so if the worship leader puts together a set list, the rest of the team can simply open up their apps, pull up the service, and start viewing and playing the sheets right away. There's no need for sending emails with PDF attachments or making sure you have enough paper and ink to print copies for the whole team. Music Stand can be downloaded on Android and Apple mobile devices, and both of those app stores will actually tell you which version of Android or iOS you need on your device to run Music Stand, but as of right now, it's Android 8.1 or higher or iOS 11.0 or higher. If you don't have a compatible mobile device, you can always access the web version at musicstand.worshiptools.com. This is perfect for those of you who are using Fire tablets, Surface tablets, or laptops and computers. I'm actually going to be demonstrating on the web app today, and we recently made some updates to the web app so that it works exactly like the mobile app, so you should be able to follow along easily regardless of what device you're on. So let's go ahead and take a look at the app itself. This is your Music Stand dashboard or home screen, and in the top left corner is your first name and your ministry's account name. Over on the right, we have this menu from which you can view your song library, change accounts, access settings, or log out. Up until a few weeks ago, you could only view songs in the context of a service, meaning you had to add songs to a service in order to pull up the chord charts at all, but we heard all the feedback and now users can open up songs directly from this song library page. Change account is only relevant if you are a user under multiple accounts, and settings we'll go over in a little bit, but just note that this is one place that you can access your settings. Back on the dashboard, your upcoming services are services that you have been invited to serve on or have accepted a role to serve on, so services that you are involved in. Upcoming services is just a list of all upcoming services, regardless of whether you are scheduled or not. Now, depending on your permission level, you may or may not see this section at all, so if you're not seeing it, you're likely a scheduled viewer, meaning you'll only see services that you are involved in. If you want to view more services or reference your past services, click See All, and to create new services, you can click New here. Just like you would in Presenter and Planning, you'll fill out the date and time, service type, name for the service if you'd like, and then hit Save. This creates your new service and you're ready to start adding songs. From here, to go back to the dashboard, click this hamburger menu which opens up your current service, then click the arrow which takes you to a list of all upcoming services, and then you can hit the home button again. I'm actually not going to go all the way back to the dashboard right now since we've already covered it, so let's walk through this panel real quick. Just like we saw on the dashboard, we've got those See All and New Service options right here. Now, this October 1st service was actually the service that I created in the planning workshop. I just moved the date forward so that I could reuse it for today's demonstration. So this entire service was created in planning, and I'm actually going to open the planning app real quick to show you what this service looks like in planning. So here in planning, we've got the full service order with the announcements, the songs, scripture, etc. But if we hop back over to Music Stand, notice that Music Stand only shows you the songs. This is intentional to minimize the clutter or distractions for the musicians as they're scrolling through their set lists and flipping through their songs during the service. They can always hop over to the planning app if they need to see the full service order. To add a new song to the set list, we'll click Add Song, which opens up this pop-up window. On this window, you can see 3 different sources to add songs from: My Library, Song Select, or Praise Charts. In order to import from Song Select, you'll need to have access to Song Select through CCLI, and I'll show you how to link your Song Select account to Music Stand later when we go over the settings. Same thing with Praise Charts, but you can purchase songs a la carte, and the ones that you've purchased should show a check mark next to them, while for songs you haven't purchased, Music Stand will give you the option to go and purchase it from the Praise Charts website. Last thing I'll mention here, there's also this option to create a new song manually, and this would be for if your church writes original songs that aren't available on these other sources, or you just don't have access to any of these other sources. So to sum it up, to add a song to the setlist, we first need to decide what source we're going to choose from. I know that a lot of our users use Song Select, so for this demonstration, I'll be using the Song Select source, but feel free to play around with all the different sources depending on what your ministry uses. With Song Select selected, I can search Song Select's database right from Music Stand, and if I know the exact title I'm looking for, I can go ahead and type it into the search field and select it from the list of results. Another cool thing, if you need some inspiration for your set list, is peruse these different lists that CCLI has put together. Just hit this go back button here to get back to the main page. I'm going to search "'Tis So Sweet," and there is my list of matching results from the Song Select database. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to my service, and now we have 4 songs in our set list. On the top of our service panel, window, column, whatever you want to call it, we have the date and service type of the service that we're currently working on. Below it, Reorder is going to let you move songs around, edit song details, and add any notes for your team, or delete the song from the service. Edit will allow you to edit the details of the service itself, like the date or the service type, and then there are options for share and print as well. Over on the right is the actual chord chart for the song we added, so let's click there to put the app's focus on there instead of this service window. This is the last song in our set list, and it only takes up 1 page, that's why the right half is empty. But to turn pages, so to speak, to the other songs, we can click this left-facing arrow. If you're on a mobile device, you can swipe your finger left or right across the screen to turn pages. Music Stand is also compatible with Bluetooth clickers and foot pedals, so if you want to use those options, you can. Just make sure that they're Bluetooth, not MIDI. Now for each song, you can click on the song title at the very top of the screen to open a drop-down of various settings. Here you can change sources, change your viewing format, key, tempo, chart format, etc. And a couple things to make note of here. Key and capo basically do the same thing, but key is a team-wide setting, while capo is independent and won't affect the other people on your team. To edit the song details or customize the Chord Pro, you can click Edit Song. We'll touch on Chord Pro later, but first let's visit the source menu. Since we just imported this song from Song Select, we only have that one source available, but it comes with 4 sub-options: lyrics, chords, lead, and vocal sheets. Just keep in mind that not every song will have all these materials available in the Song Select database, and depending on the level of Song Select that your church subscribes to, you may or may not have access to all of these options. If you want to add additional sources for this song, such as a PDF or maybe even something from Praise Charts, click Add and select your new source. Let me just quickly add a PDF to demonstrate. And now I have these 2 sources to choose from when viewing "'Tis So Sweet." Sources can be different per each person on your team, so your vocalist might have the lead or vocal sheet open while the guitarist has the chords open. Whatever your last selected source is, Music Stand will treat that as your personal default, so that anytime this song is added to other services, your default source will load onto your device. Before we move on, I want to mention that the Song Select source files live in the Song Select database, so whenever you view a Song Select source, Music Stand imports a fresh copy from their database. That does mean that you might hit your 200 song limit in Song Select, so one way that you can work around this is to create a Chord Pro copy of the Song Select chords and make that your default song source. Since this song does not yet have a Chord Pro source, let's go back to our main song dropdown and do that together. Now we're entering Chord Pro territory, and not everyone watching this will be familiar with what that is, so let me do a quick overview. Basically, we are used to reading chords like this, where the chords sit above the lyrics, specifically above the syllable or the beat in which you play that chord. Song Select, Praise Charts, and a lot of other chord libraries provide music in this format, typically as a PDF, but PDFs are almost like still images, you can't really customize them. On the other hand, Chord Pro is a special, smarter formatting for chords, and that's what Music Stand uses for quick key changes, custom arrangements, switching viewing formats, etc. Let's go ahead and open up the Chord Pro Editor to see what the Chord Pro actually looks like. This is the editor, and it might seem daunting if you're completely new to Chord Pro, but we'll walk through it together, and once you learn it, it'll get a lot easier. Chord Pro consists of three main elements: directives or tags, which we have in curly brackets and are shown in green and pink here. Then we have lyrics in black and chords in straight brackets in yellow. My Chord Pro Editor autofills all the tags, lyrics, and chords for me from the Song Select chords because I'm subscribed to Song Select Premium and Chord Pro Access is included in that premium plan. However, if you have a lower Song Select plan or don't have access to Song Select at all, the editor might be blank, so it'll require a few extra steps for you to create the full chord chart, but it's definitely doable. Many of our users do it all the time, and you only need to do it once per song. Let's go ahead and dissect the Chord Pro. Up here we have our header tags. Now there are specific tags that you can choose from, and we have an article with a list of all of them on our website under Music Stand support docs if you'd like to reference it, or you can also click tag down here and click on the one that you want. When working with Chord Pro, there are a few header items that you have to have, like the title, the author, key, and tempo, but the others I think are optional. Below the header is our first song section, verse 1, and notice that there is a comment tag right above that verse. With Chord Pro, you have to start each song section, so your verses, your choruses, intros, instrumentals, etc., with a comment directive or tag. It should be encased in curly brackets and should always say comment, followed by whatever that section header is. You'll know that you did it right if it looks green and pink like this, and whatever is in pink will be displayed as the header of this song section on your final chord chart. Below the comment directive are the lyrics for this verse, and notice that the chords are sitting amongst the lyrics here. Instead of putting the chords above the syllable that you played on, you place it in brackets in front of that syllable like this. Again, my editor was autofilled by Music Stand, but if you're working from scratch, you would just type bracket, chord, bracket. You could also use these smart chords here, which will auto-populate depending on what key Music Stand notices that you're working in, or use this chord button here to select from the list. For song sections that don't have lyrics, you might do something like comment, instrumental, and then, I don't know, G, C, C over G, G. And if you want to add beat markers, you can also stick them in the chord brackets like this, or even like this. If you ever want to pause and preview your work, click Preview. There's that random instrumental I just put in there. And notice that all the colors and brackets are gone and we're left with a readable chord chart. So Music Stand is rendering the final product based on the Chord Pro blueprint that you put together. When you're all done with your Chord Pro, click Save and that'll create a new Chord Pro source for you. If you have Song Select Premium and your editor is autofilled like mine was, you don't even need to make any changes before you hit Save to create that Chord Pro. Now, if we look at Amazing Grace, Song Select doesn't have anything other than lyrics for this song, so again, you could go to the Chord Pro Editor and create your own Chord Pro for the song as needed. The last thing I want to mention before we move on from these song settings is if we select a different source like the Song Select lead or vocal sheets, our drop-down menu options change. So instead of 1 column, 2 column, or chart type, we get octave shift, which you may need if you change the key of the song and need to shift the octave up or down, and that's only relevant to sheet music. Next, let's look at this upper right corner. We've got an audible metronome, a link to audio references, which you can manage in planning, and on-screen annotations. It's a bit difficult to do annotations with a mouse, but definitely play around with them if you have Music Stand on a mobile device. And feel free to mark up your charts like you would on paper. You can highlight, draw, type, and this one's tricky for a lot of people, but to delete something, you're going to use the selection tool first and then delete it. As of right now, the annotations are specific to each user, so you can't print with the markings or share them with your other team members. Moving on, we're going to open up our hamburger menu again and look at some final few things. Music Stand has a really cool feature in which you can designate someone as the host, and that host can control page turns for the rest of the team. To designate yourself as the host device, you'll click this toggle to make your device discoverable, and to connect to a designated host, you'll select that device when it pops up down here. Any Music Stand device or presenter device can be designated as the host, but there are a few rules or things to be mindful of. 1, the connections are individual, so not everyone on your team has to connect to the host. For example, your drummer might opt in, but your bassist doesn't have to. 2, if a Music Stand device is the host, any other user that is connected to that host must be viewing the same source and format as the host. For example, if the host is using the 2-column Chord Pro chord source and the pianist is viewing the song select vocal sheets, the pianist is likely going to have more pages to sift through than the host. So because of those inconsistencies between different sources, users have to be viewing the same source and formatting as the host to opt in. Third, if presenter is the host, presenter can only get you to the first page of the song for the same reason as number 2. So if the chords or sheet music have multiple pages, you'll have to do the page turns for those extra pages manually. Lastly, we're going to take a look at the settings as I promised way earlier. Here you can turn on dark mode if that is your preference. You can also customize text colors, so if you want your chords to stand out from your lyrics, you might make them a different color. For text size, we currently have 3 options to choose from: normal, large, and extra large. Oh, and I think font size also plays a factor in the host device connections, so be mindful of that if you do opt into that feature. Then we have some viewing format defaults that you can choose from. And lastly, it's not available here on the web version right now, but if you are on the mobile app and have the org admin permission level, you should also be seeing the song select and praise charts integration options here. You have to be an org admin to manage those settings, and you can also opt into CCLI auto reporting here as well. Auto reporting is super convenient because you're building your service in MusicStand anyway. Just let us send your song usage to CCLI, and you don't ever have to worry about submitting reports to CCLI manually. And I almost forgot about offline use. If you're using the mobile app on your Apple or Android devices, MusicStand will cache services onto the local device if you open up that service while you are connected to the internet. So if you lose internet or go somewhere with a spotty connection, you'll still have access to your music. But if you've never opened that service while you were connected to the internet, there is no cache backup for MusicStand to reference. So make sure you open up your services at least once when you have internet, and you should be good to go. If you ever need to clear your cache, you can do that in the settings menu as well if you're on the mobile app. And with that, you are now a MusicStand Pro. If you have any general questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you have any specific questions, please send us an email at support@worshiptools.com. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to invite Adam back for the closing.
Awesome. Thanks, Joanne. And that concludes our workshop today. I hope you learned something new about MusicStand. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.